Over 200 years ago, our founding fathers created a document, a plan, a gridiron for our nation that would protect our rights and freedoms, ensuring that America would stand the test of time, providing an example for the rest of the world to follow. This document is without doubt the Constitution of the United States of America. The first article of the Constitution establishes the legislative branch. The Senate and the House of Representatives are the two houses that compose this branch of government, the United States Congress, which is outlined in the first section of this article. Section 1 also denotes lawmaking procedure, laws that can be made, and the limitations of congressional power. Sections 2 and 3 of Article 1 explain in detail the two houses of Congress. Thus is the first article of our Constitution, the basis from which our nation was, and is to this day, built. Did you know there is a branch of our government that consists primarily of only two individuals? Well, that's what Article 2 is all about, the executive branch. Article 2 spells out this branch of our government primarily concerning the role of presidency. The main purpose of the executive branch is to carry out laws passed by Congress. Article 2 also establishes election procedures and qualifications for both the President and the Vice President, completing Article 2 and the second branch of our government. When the United States government moved to Washington, D.C. in 1824, they forgot to design a building for the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court heads the judicial branch of government established in Article 3. Article 3 spells out the powers of the Supreme Court, defining its ability to create lower federal courts. All federal courts are given the ability to rule on cases. Treason against America is also defined in Article 3. States here, states there, states everywhere, states upon states. That's all Article 4 talks about. It goes on and on about how states can be admitted to the Union, interstate relations, and civil rights of citizens from different states. It talks about the relations between states, a state to the government, the relation between America and a state, even the relation to you and a state. Yep, that's one good thing about Article 4. It states, no pun intended, that the U.S. government will protect all states of the Union from invasion or domestic violence. Article 4 just has to make you feel good about being an American. Article 5 is inarguably the longest article of the Constitution. It establishes the means by which the Constitution can be amended. Very lengthy indeed. Article 6, the basis of the Supremacy Clause, establishes that congressional laws, the Constitution, and U.S. treaties shall be, in short, the law. The final article of the Constitution does not establish any new lawmaking procedures or new branches of government, but instead makes it all happen. Article 7 states that the Constitution is validated by a ratification process, declaring its effect after being ratified by 9 states. The Bill of Rights is another tool set forth by the Founding Fathers to limit the power of our government. When the Bill of Rights was adopted, many states had their own similar documents. Although the Bill of Rights applied mainly to the national government, most states have adopted it into state government through a series of Supreme Court decisions. Amendment 1. This amendment is commonly known as the separation of church and state, giving citizens freedom of religion and separation of religious and governmental proceedings. It also states that citizens have the right to criticize the government and speak freely, publishing information through newspapers, magazines, or other mediums. Amendment 2. The Second Amendment simply states that citizens have the right to bear arms. However, Congress is allowed to regulate interstate sale of weapons. Amendment 3 prohibits the government from forcing citizens to house soldiers in their own homes. Amendment 4 requires police or government officials to have a valid search warrant before being allowed to legally search a citizen's house or property. Amendment 5 states that the government may not deprive a citizen of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This amendment also regulates degree of trial. Amendment 6 states that citizens have the right to a fair, speedy, and public trial. Amendment 7 states that citizens have the right to trial by jury in civil cases. Amendment 8 bans cruel and unusual punishment for crimes and sets up the jail bail system in a way to ensure that the accused shows up for their trial. Failure to do so forfeits the bail credit. Amendment 9 states that citizens have unenumerated rights, explaining that citizens are not limited to only the rights listed in the Bill of Rights. Amendment 10 states that people and the states have rights that the national government cannot assume. Amendment 11 states that states cannot be sued by a foreign nation or a citizen from another state.
Can't touch me. Can't touch me.
Amendment 12 requires the Electoral College to use separate ballots in voting for president and vice president. Amendment 13 states simply that slavery is outlawed in the United States. Amendment 14 prohibits a state from depriving a citizen of life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. Amendment 15 prohibits the government from allowing race issues to qualify citizens for voting. In other words, a black man shall have equal voting rights as a white man. Amendment 16 gives Congress the power to levy individual income taxes. Amendment 17 states that people, not legislatures, shall elect United States senators. Amendment 18 is the prohibition of alcohol. Amendment 19 ensures all sexes the right to vote. This means men and women. Amendment 20 sets the term beginnings and endings for Congress and deals with outgoing officials called lame ducks due to their inactivity in Congress. Amendment 21 is the repeal of prohibition of alcohol. Amendment 18, prohibiting alcohol, in fact worsened the alcohol crimes in the United States. Therefore, Amendment 21 repeals Amendment 18. Amendment 22 limits presidents to a maximum of 2 terms. Amendment 23 allows citizens living in the District of Columbia to vote for president and vice president, a right previously revoked until 1961. Amendment 24 prohibits poll taxes in federal elections. Amendment 25 deals with the vice president fulfilling the duty of the president if he or she becomes unable to do the job. Amendment 26 lowers the voting age in both federal and state elections to 18 years old. Amendment 27 makes congressional pay raises effective during the term after their passage.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot the best part of the movie. You know how every kid puts something behind their door, like a picture of a cute girl or their favorite rock star? Well, behind my door, I have something even better. Look familiar? That's because these documents are known the world over. These are 3 original copies. First, the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, the Constitution of the United States of America, and the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, signed July 4th, 1776. You're probably wondering by now, how did I obtain these documents, and how much are they worth? But that, my friends, is a question that will have to wait until next time. I'm Adam Goss, and you've just watched the first video in my American government video series, The United States Constitution.